Some of you have heard me give this little talk before, but I want to speak about breath. Yeah. And it's interesting because COVID affects what? It's this breathing, right? It's this breath. People are trying to get oxygen. We're doing this fundraiser so that people can breathe. Yeah. These funds are just to allow people to have something that we take for granted, the ability to take a breath. Yeah. And that's something that COVID steals away. Yeah, people end up on oxygen and all kind of things. Yeah, and so obviously without breath, we have no life. Yet rarely do we think about it unless we're in the situation where it's taken away. Yeah. How important is breath in our daily life? Crucial. Yeah. What is the first act of life? I'm not saying when does life begin because we'd have to get into a whole like religious debate. But I'm asking, what is our first act of life when we enter this world? It's a breath, right? We take a breath. Without that, we haven't begun the life. That's the initiation of entry into this world. What is the last thing we do before exiting this world, right? We ride in upon an inhale and we depart riding an exhale. We could truly say life is only one breath. Inhale in the beginning, exhale in the end, and there are some details in between. Yeah. But we, every one of us here, every one of us on this planet, we are one breath away from death. That is how thin the veil is separating between life and death. Imagine it's like a gauze. You can see through it even. It's so thin, the veneer between living and dying. One breath is all. And I'd have people say, well, that's silly. Watch, David. I didn't die. And I'll say, oh, that's right, but don't take that next one. Yeah. Now, there are people that can hold their breath a long time. I read something the other day, it blew my mind. I thought it was fake, but I looked a little further and it was real. There's this guy can hold his breath for 22 minutes. Now, before you start going, wait a minute, I'll explain what he does first. Yeah, but I know free divers and things that can hold their breath 5, 6, even 7 minutes. Yeah, so they train for it. This guy, the way he did it 22 minutes is he breathes pure oxygen for like an hour before, just saturating his cells with oxygen really slow. And then he's in water and he takes one more big breath and puts his head underwater and just floats there. And they time it, they show it, 22 minutes. But he's surcharged with oxygen. Okay, so that's amazing. 22 minutes, not 23. There's a limit, yeah? Even the best, without the next breath, it's over. So we should relish that ability. We can get bummed out about all kind of things. Oh, I can't bind my hands. I can't jump through. I used to stand on my hands. If we're breathing, we're still here. We have purpose. Wake up in the morning. I'm here. I'm breathing. I'm taking that breath. I'm here for a reason. Yeah. I'm still alive. Some languages use the same or very similar words to describe breath and spirit. Inspira, expira, spirit in, spirit out. There's the relationship. Ein Atman, Atman, right? Ein Atman, aus Atman. The breath moving in, the spirit moving in, the spirit moving out. In my personal opinion, breathing with awareness is a spiritual act. As humans, we tend to like to overcomplicate things. For something to be spiritual, it has to become so complicated. You have to turn around 7 times and say this and that and do. It's just the breath, I think. In 1999, a lot of people were fixated on the calendar that was going to flip over to the year 2000. There were doomsday people that thought everything's going to end. The world's going to end. The computers, they didn't design computers for this moment. Everything's going to shift over. It's all zeros. The planes are going to fall from the sky. The banks are going to crash. Everything's going to, it's terrible. Yeah. But then there were people like the amazing musician artist Prince. God bless his soul. He said, don't worry. Let's just party like it's 1999. He was there, just let's sing and dance and bring in the new year. Yeah. Now there were yoga people saying, oh, we're yoga people. Yoga means union. Let's unite people around the world. At midnight, let's all say Om together. That will unite the planet. And I'm like, I'm from Texas. I promise you, most Texans are not down with that. It's not going to unite most people on the planet. People have different religious views and different things. And saying Om, already you've eliminated vast populations of the planet that are not going to want to say Om. So some people are like, okay, I got it. At midnight, let's do 108 sun salutations to show unity. And I'm like, now you're really narrowing it down. You're going to limit this unification to some hardcore people that want to stay up till midnight and bang out 108 sun salutations. Also, not unifying. So I was like, what is it that we could say unites all people, regardless of religious leanings, regardless of gender identity, social status? What is the one thing that unites every race, every person, regardless of language, culture, anything? Breath. We all breathe. We don't breathe in a language. If I told you all right now, breathe with sound, it would sound the same. We cannot breathe in Chinese or Spanish or Swahili. The sound of the breath is the same everywhere I go in the world. You go in a room and people are breathing. It's not like if you had your eyes closed, you went in the room and you're like, oh, that's Japanese people breathing. It's just the sound of the breath. It is universal. It connects us all. No language, no culture. And no one can deny that they breathe. Yeah. It's not like, well, we breathe through our ears and somebody else breathes through their, right? We breathe. It connects every person, every planet. So I came up with the program. I had a website and everything. It's defunct now, but the program is called Earth 2000, the first breath. And there was a website, First Breath 2000. The concept was this: wherever you are on the globe, a couple of seconds before midnight, exhale. Just release the air from your body. That's all. Doesn't have to be a fancy way of breathing, nothing, just with that simple act of exhaling, release everything that you need to let go of in your life. Whatever negativity, whatever you need to release. At midnight, when that calendar clicks, inhale. A new breath, a new dawn, a new day, new potential, new possibilities, a new birth. This calendar, the 2000 thing, humans just made that up. It's not like there's some giant, like, primal clock in a cave somewhere that shows time. Humans just came up with the way of watching the sun or the moon and created calendars and stuff. Different cultures use different ways of time. But it was a way for people to fixate on a specific moment. Now, how many times in a day could we do that? Exhale, let go of everything you want to let go of. When you inhale new possibilities, new potential, new growth. Revel in that. Doesn't require anything special. You need no equipment. You don't need any special, like, breathing clothes. Yeah, there's the latest brand of yoga breathing clothes because you'll breathe better if you have those clothes. You could be naked. You can be in a tuxedo. You can be whatever, yeah? And breathe. If you're feeling stressed, take a few breaths. Maybe you've heard this saying, the mind is more difficult to control than the wind. However, if we are able to control our breath, we are able to control our mind. The mind is more difficult to control than the wind. However, if we are able to control our breath, we are able to control our mind. What this statement alludes to is that there is a connection between our emotional state and our breath. Do you believe that to be true? If so, can you think of a real life example where breath and emotional state are obviously related? Let's say two kids are fighting and we pull them apart. What's happening with their breath? Right? What if you're walking down a dark alley in a scary part of town and you hear some footsteps behind you? When we're frightened, we hold the breath. Angry, we're breathing, it's harsh. How about a performer, a ballet dancer, musician before the curtain goes up, or an athlete before the beginning of an event? They're nervous, right? Fast, short breathing. Yeah. Someone says a mother giving birth. Yeah. How about sad? You ever notice someone really sad? There's a great focus on exhale. It's like, oh, because that exhale is a surrender. It's like giving up. Without knowing anything at all about yoga, what advice might we offer to these people? You kids, stop fighting, calm down. Just take a few deep breaths. Wow, I know you're frightened. Whoa, that sounds like a scary thing that happened to you. Just take a couple breaths, it'll help. Wow, I know you're nervous, man. The theater's full tonight. It's packed out there. Whoa. Take a couple breaths. Oh, I know you're sad. Breathe. Now, I wouldn't pretend to try to give advice to the woman giving birth. I wouldn't say, baby, just breathe. She'd be like, yeah, let's trade places and I'll tell you to that. So I won't use that example as directly as the other ones. Yeah, but it is certainly important to breathe. But where does this come from? This penchant for offering that advice. I do not recall any moment in my life Like when my grandparents sat me down and said, grandson, if you see someone stressed, just tell them breathe deep. It'll help. I don't remember anybody telling me that. But somehow all of us know that. It is a natural primal thing. It is deep in the recesses of our DNA that when we see someone in stress, advise them to breathe. Take that into our own life. You're feeling stressed, take a few deep breaths. Hey, there are a lot of reasons to feel stressed. Definitely. And it doesn't mean that the breathing deep is going to change everything out there. Look at all the things we don't have control over in life. Pandemics, financial situations, violence, weather. There's a lot of things we don't have immediate control over. What do we have control over? How we respond to these challenges. How we respond to the difficulties when they're thrust upon us. Like it or not, here it is, boom, pandemic. Ooh, yeah. If we can remain calm, even if we cannot change the external circumstance, we can change our mindset, find strength and focus and resolve to remain present and strong and soldier through to get to the other side. Yeah. And we can remain calm while doing so, possibly. It's also normal to just freak out occasionally. That's also all right. Yeah. We're not meant to just be emotionless robots. Sometimes people think that, oh, the blissful person, they just walk around in some kind of bliss bubble. All range of emotions are normal in a human entity. If something sad happens, it's okay to be sad. Something happy, be happy. Something frightening, be frightened. It's not we're just some blob like inanimate object. Chinese medicine says all range of emotions are normal. They only become a problem when it is of excessive duration or intensity. Yeah. So we have to find a way through the other side. We can feel alone during these times too. But also we should all realize that people can feel alone even in the midst of a crowd. Even when we were able to socially, what would be the opposite of socially distancing? Socially closening. When we were able to hug each other and see each other, still people could feel isolated and alone and sad. Yeah. So it's not only physical distance that can cause that. It's a lack of feeling a connection. But let's come back to breath. If you look at the earth from outer space, it's like an apple or something, meaning there's this sphere with a thin skin on the outside of it. What is that thin veneer, that thin skin on earth? It's our atmosphere. It's the oxygen. And check it out. The air on this planet does not discriminate. We have like physical borders drawn on the earth, but there's no such thing as American air and Mexican air. Regardless of how tall you build that wall, air is still going to come through. It flows around this planet through jet streams. Every one of us around this world, we are sharing the same air on this planet, the same oxygen. These oxygen molecules in this room where I am, they float out into space, catch into the wind, fly around the world, shared with everyone equally without discrimination, regardless of social status, anything. This breathing thing connects us with past, present, and future. Check it out. The air moving in and out of the Aboriginals in Australia 50,000 years ago. or the ancient Egyptians, or the original cultures in Mexico, Central America, and the Americas, yeah, Europeans. Those same molecules floating around this planet still. Right now, in this instance, even though we are social distance from each other, we are sharing one breath on this planet, one world, one breath. This atmosphere is connecting us. It will connect us with future generations. What we're breathing right now, future generations breathe that. My wife, Shelley, some of you know Shelley, she was a little girl. Her father had blown up a balloon, for a birthday or something. And they had that balloon, and her father died in a tragic accident, but they had the balloon. They kept that balloon for years because his breath was in the balloon. We realized that's something special, that breath. But even if you release the balloon, that breath now is merged with all of this breath we're sharing. We are connected together with the simple act of breathing. It connects us with animals, their breathing. It connects us with nature. When we exhale, plants go, great, I'll take that in and I'll share with you oxygen. Yeah. This simple act of breathing, it weaves everything together. It is the gel that holds the whole thing together. There is no separation. It is impossible to be separated if we think about the breath. There's no way that you can be separate from others. What does it matter what color someone's skin is? They're breathing. Billionaires have to breathe. Poverty-stricken individuals have to breathe. We are all breathing. We are sharing this simple act. We are not alone. If someone is suffering, we all feel that. Yeah. No one should be not denied the ability to breathe. And I don't want to get too far into this, but even something like George Floyd, I can't breathe. Yeah. He was being denied the basic thing of breath. Denying breath from another human, the greatest insult, the greatest travesty. Breath is a God-given right. Everyone, we enter that, the breath. Yeah. It's beautiful. It's wondrous. It's accessible. It's free. It brings in environmental issues. Pollute the air here, we're all affected. That stuff's going to float around. It might hang over one city more than another because of mountain ranges and stuff, but still, I mean, I've taught in places around the world that were so polluted. I was teaching a yoga class and I was like, well, inhale if you have to. I don't know, maybe not too much, just little sips, focus on the exhale. I don't know what to say. Inhaling might be detrimental to your health. And that made me sad in my heart and soul. Yeah. So it brings in environmental issues, which can become overwhelming because we're just one person and there's billions of us on the planet. And it's not even right to point our fingers at somewhere like China and go, yeah, but you guys are polluting the air. That's just because America went through its industrial revolution and polluted everything, and Europe did. And then what we did is we just took all the steel mills and put them in someone else's neighborhood and buy the steel from them. Yeah. And then blame them for the problem. It's a big picture. It's all interlinked. But I have hope. I believe, especially in the younger generations of people, are fired up about these environmental things. They want to make a change. Yeah. In the Vedas, it talks about the different ages. Satya Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Treta Yuga, Kali Yuga. In Satya Yuga, it says that people lived, their life expectancy was 100,000 years. That's how long one person could live. That went on for many, many generations, millions of years. And everything was in harmony during Satya Yuga. The weather was not too hot, not too cold. There was just enough rain. There were beautiful flowers. Everyone was beautiful. When they spoke, it sounded like song. Yeah. Probably no one's armpits smelled. They probably armpits smelled like gardenias. You know, they had breath like a rose, whatever, and they were beautiful. It says that they had airplanes made from flowers and they could fly to them from the sound vibrations of a mantra. Whoa, cool. Over time, things started to degrade, and eventually people's life expectancy was only 10,000 years, but things were still pretty good. Then, over time, things degraded further, life expectancy down to only 1,000 years. That's still kind of a long time, but 1,000 years, things are getting worse. Now we are in Kali Yuga. 100 years is life expectancy. Kali Yuga is called the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. They say in the age of Kali Yuga, it is difficult for even two people to agree on anything. It's predicted. They say people fight about everything. Even yoga people, even though we're like, oh, we all do yoga. But hey, you guys, we're doing the real yoga. They're doing something, but we're doing the real. There's all that stuff, right? Even in yoga, people fight about the silliest things, but it's predicted. And they say that in Kali Yuga, something that is actually a religion and pure, people will look at that and say that's fake. They will say religion is irreligion and irreligion is religion. Fake news is invented in Kali Yuga. Okay, all that kind of stuff. But we can transcend that. Even in Satya Yuga, they had to breathe. Yeah. Kali Yuga, we're still breathing. I even look at the earth as an entity that's breathing. Yeah. So we're one person. It's not easy for one person to make a difference. But two people, it gets twice as easy as with one person. Three people, four people, a billion people. You get a billion people start thinking about this stuff, we make a big difference. Just like this event. Even if one person could collect these funds and hand it to the charity, that's wonderful. But there's something even more powerful when a lot of people can give a little bit to achieve that goal. It creates a collection of focus. It creates a community effort, which is always more beautiful and fulfilling when we do things together. Yeah. I was one of the people that said, I will never teach online. Bleh, I'll never do that. I only teach in person. Hey man, here I am. It's not perfect, but wow, thank you. We get to have this. At least we have this, right? We have a way of seeing each other. And I find it very cool. You see people in their homes, you find something you don't see in the yoga room. Yeah. You see people's pets and kids. And I mean, so many cool. I don't know how some of you balance. I see people in Utita Hospital, their child's like climbing up their leg like a tree, you know, or their cats and dogs. It's cool. It's real. Simultaneously with that, I miss being in the room with you guys. I won't lie. I miss it, man. I miss it. I miss the energy. I miss the sounds. I even miss the smells. I never thought I'd say that. I even miss the yoga funk. Yeah. And we'll come back to that. This world's been through all kind of problems before, world wars and pandemics and everything. We will come through the other side. We have to remain strong and positive, and this idea of breathing is going to help us to get to the other side. This breath thing is going to help us through. And this purpose of these funds is going to India, where people are having a hard time to breathe right now because there is no oxygen. Yeah. And so even the thing with masks and sometimes this air we're breathing can have funk in it that can infect someone else. Yeah. So we have to be responsible and thinking just beyond our own selfish desire to be healthy and strong. What is the best for the greater good? Just like the meditation in the class before, Kino was talking about, expanding that out into the meta, to the rest of everything, all the entities. You gotta start thinking beyond just what's going to keep me healthy, but if I wear this, is it going to help keep someone else healthy? Am I going to do this for someone else, even if it's a bit of an inconvenience for me? This is also the attitude of yoga. You know, not only about what I want, but what is going to help everything. So breath is important. Breath is essential. Breathing with awareness is beautiful. It's not hard to do. Yeah. And so what I'd like to do now is some simple pranayama. We're even going to do some breath retentions, but only for a few seconds, all right? This is not a breath holding championship. Yeah. We don't have Guinness World Records standing by to see who can hold their breath the longest. And you can do this in any way you want. You can sit on a sofa, on a chair. You could lie on your back. You want to try to keep your back straight just because you have more facility for deep breathing if you do so. But you don't have to be in lotus. You can be any way you want. Now, when we hold our breath, there is a natural response that goes on in our psyche. What is that? Whoa, 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 what are you doing? This is crazy. Why are you not taking a breath? We could die, because our brain is like, we know one breath, one life. Like, I don't want to die. Come on, take a breath. What are you, nuts? Inhale, you silly person. That's normal. But because we're controlling the breath, remember, control the breath, control the mind, we go, yes, I understand, mind. We are just going to observe the quiet space between the breaths for a little moment. Maybe some of you have done meditation before. Also, we tend to make things way too complicated, yeah? Even in meditation. But have you heard meditation described like this? Meditation is the space between one thought and the next. Meditation is the space between one thought and the next. In some ways, I think of pranayama as the space between one breath and the next. Certainly, you don't have to hold your breath to do pranayama, but generally that's what starts to define it as a pranayama exercise. There's some kind of breath retention. That's suspension. We're going to observe that suspension, that space between, yeah? And then we'll take a breath. So we're going to sit and just take 3 breaths together. And then as you exhale, you're going to hold your breath. And there's all kind of bandhas and things, but because we're not doing this for long periods of time, it's just going to be simple. But during the retention, I'd like you to just drop your head forward like that without compromising your posture. Now, if you're lying on your back, you just leave your head on the floor, but we'll do that 3 times. After the exhale, we'll hold the breath. When we inhale, you'll lift your head. Exhale, and the head drops and you wait. We'll do that 3 times. Then directly after that, we'll go inhale, and you'll hold your breath and let your chin drop. Then as you exhale, the head comes to neutral. 3 times after an inhale. Then 3 breaths. That's all. Okay? Simple. Not long retentions, just to observe. After we do that little bit of simple pranayama, You're going to sit or lie down, and I'm going to speak a little bit about what we can focus on during those moments. And that's how our class will wrap up. Okay. Find your chosen method of sitting or lying down, whatever, because you want it to be comfortable. You don't want to be stressing out or feeling your body in pain or, oh my God, I'm in lotus. This is terrible. Just find a way to sit. And in a moment, when we start our 3 breaths, I want you to think about the connection, all the things we spoke of before. It's connecting us. If there's other people in the room with you, great. But it's connecting you with other people in your community, your city, your country, this planet. We're all being connected with this, the plants, the animals, everything. Exhale. Now we're going to start and take 3 simple breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Feel the wonder of this simple act. Revel in it. Inhale. Exhale. Again, same thing. Inhale. Exhale. And we're going to retain our breath for a few seconds. Hold and let your head just droop forward. Return your head to neutral. Inhale. Exhale. Relax your head. Let it droop forward. Just observe this space. Return head to neutral. Inhale. Exhale. Chin drop. Return your head to neutral. Inhale. At the top of this inhale, retain the breath. Don't, not forcing, and just let your chin relax. Release tension in your body. Just be very efficient with the muscles you're using right now. Minimal effort. Chin to neutral. Exhale. Inhale. Relax your chin. Observe the space. Head neutral position. Exhale. One more time like that. Inhale. Hold. Relax your head. Relax your body. Your body is just a vessel for breath right now. Don't have to be in some perfect physical position. Head neutral. Exhale. Breathe in. Breathe out. No retention. Just slow. following the breath, breathing in, out. And just keep taking some breaths on your own like that, and I'll give you some things to think about while you're breathing. I find it helpful to visualize the breath in the shape of a wheel. And so when the air is coming in, I imagine it going up, and then when the air is going out, it goes down. The reason I think of a wheel or a circle is as I take my hand through space, in the shape of a circle, there's a point when I'm going up that it was stopped going up and it started going down the other side, but it's sort of a blur. It's not specific. It's not like an elevator going up and stopping and then coming down. So that rolling sensation of the breath becoming one thing, the transition between in and out or out and in blurs. And it's simply a movement of breath without even thinking, is it an inhale or an exhale? It's a cycling of the breath. This wondrous gift. And you can just remain still. And at some point, don't try anymore. Just observe the breath, even if it seems like it's shallow. Just observe that movement. And as you're doing so, it's almost as though our physical body begins to evaporate. So you become the essence of the breath. You feel that connection with the atmosphere, the room, or the space around you. That expands to include further and further out in the sky. That one breath. We want to send good energy to those that are having a hard time breathing. Help them find the breath. We're connected with everything, everyone, sharing this one simple task. And imagine even floating through the trees as the breath. Birds, the animals, the other humans. There's an interesting moment when we sit very still like this, that Almost like the breath, it feels like it disappears. It's moving, but we become one with that action. We are not separate from the breath. Essence. Now, if you've really drifted away, I want you to start returning to your physical body. It's almost like you can imagine it coming back into its shape, feeling the breath again, becoming more involved, being aware of the drawing in and moving out of breath. Again, our body becomes the vessel for that breath. It's still not separate from it. Fully coming back to the body, the movement of our diaphragm and our lungs, physical form. Thank you very much. I don't even want to disturb your nice vibe right now by doing a lot of talking. You can remain as you are, or you could lie down into a nice shavasana if you wish. But know that you have the power to do what we've just done any time of the day or night, to feel connected, to use the breath to soothe your soul, to calm your nervous system, to energize your body. Utilize the breath in real and practical ways, benefits for yourself, benefit others. Remain calm, focused, present, while we all do what we need to do to get through challenging times. We have this. We have breath. We have each other. Thank you so much. Like I said, I'm just going to end it with this nice feeling. You guys stay strong. Take good care of yourself. Take the good energy. And let's prove that not only as practitioners may we gain personal benefit, but just possibly, if enough of us do this stuff, maybe we truly can make the world a little better place. Thank you. Love, respect. I look forward to the day we get to see each other in a room together. But until then, I'm appreciative for what we have. Thank you so much.